So Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro. A, why, and B, do you think it could possibly be any good?
Live action Spider-Verse. That's my thought. I think
Yeah.
I think they're going to be bringing back a lot of the actors that have played a lot of the different characters, the different Spider-Man villains probably. I have a feeling that they're going to be doing that. But maybe
but-
he's just playing a different version of the same character. That's also possible.
Yeah,
I hope it's the former.
I think there's two ways they can go. Is like the Spider-Verse route and righting the wrongs of the past. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess either guess is as good as the other, but I hope they're just trying to right the wrongs of the past. I never saw that movie. Is it really that bad?
It's not good.
It's
His
not good.
performance.
I mean,
just remember
everything
it's like
like
techno
everything
every time
about
he
that
fights.
movie is bad. So
Yeah.
The stuff I liked about that movie the most was the stuff between Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker. I thought that was really well done, but the movie as a whole was not good. I think it was because they were just so good together and they had great chemistry. But the movie itself was pretty garbage.
Yeah, I mean, he was just such like a garbage villain. He was like, I think we've compared him in the past to like Jim Carrey, Riddler.
like Riddler, yeah.
Is he really that hammy?
Yeah,
Like the character basically has the same direction. Like he's a
Mhm.
real big fucking nerd.
huge Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
Has a lot of similarities for sure.
Good lord.
Yeah, and then like I just hate the whole direction of the character. I didn't think the blue necessarily worked. I just nothing about that villain I particularly liked. But I think the positive is Jamie Foxx is a good actor. I think it was more the script and the direction
Yeah.
they went with the character versus Jamie Foxx is doing. And I think this is going to be
Yeah,
a
he-
chance for him to kind of redeem
was
himself and
fu-
that character.
He was far from the only good actor that played a horrible villain in that film. I mean, Paul Giamatti's Rhino was laughably bad.
I was gonna
So
say,
bad.
grow a spine, Sony, bring us back Paul Giamatti's Rhino. Let's do it over again.
I just don't like. My first reaction was Spider-Verse also, but I don't get why you would start with bringing back Electro from
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 of all the people, all the characters.
You bring back Alfred
Raimi-
Molina as Doc
yeah,
Ock. They don't
exactly.
have a
The
Doc
Ra-
Ock. I mean,
The Raimi trilogy had so many better villains.
yeah.
I have a feeling that it's
Bring
just
back
the
Green
one-
Goblin. Bring back fucking Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Do you like
I
the
have a-
alternative Green Goblin with the mask where he's actually the Goblin? You guys ever see that? They had a full hydraulic mask. It looked
Mhm.
beautiful. Do that. Do like an alternate reality one where he actually becomes a monster.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it's just the first one that they were able to line up. I feel like they're probably talking to a lot of the other actors, and they just haven't gotten a
I want
contract.
James
nailed
Franco
yet.
back eating fucking pie.
I want
Mhm.
Bernard. I
Yes.
want Bernard back
Well, that's who everyone wants.
as the main antagonist.
Sure, Reddit's probably craving for Bernard to come back.
We also
Spider-Man,
need Peter
far from
Parker's-
Bernard.
We need Peter Parker's landlord. He needs to come back.
That's true. That's true.
The
True story.
the Eastern European landlord.
You,
We can-
you are a good
we can
Spider-Man.
only be so lucky.
I'm
Yeah,
good
good
woman.
woman.
Dude, it's certainly the weirdest thing that they've done for a superhero movie.
Yeah. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if Sony sees like, oh man, Spider-Verse was like it killed. So why don't we just do this in live action form? You know?
Yeah, but like Murph said, it's just such a weird idea because
It is.
they've already done that in live action, like that Electro in live action, and apparently it
Mhm.
sucked. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
he
feel like
wasn't different.
there would be so many different characters you could make people more excited about for bringing back. So that makes me lean towards maybe it's doing it right by an actor who is a strong actor and could definitely do a better job with
Yeah,
the right
which
material.
would be awesome.
And that movie
Yeah.
was just like a bullshit slap together thing to keep the rights to Spider-Man, right? That two movie trilogy
The whole
was
goal
just
of that was
a
like
filler.
yeah, with Amazing Spider-Man 1, and then the second one, their whole goal was to build like their own universe and build their own Sinister Six,
Yeah.
which now they're doing a much more natural way with the just random spin-offs like Venom and things like that.
Except for-
Morbius.
Except for they kill all their villains.
Yeah, they do have a problem with doing that. But
Hey, maybe they'll bring them all back.
Yeah.
we shall see. We shall see. But we're going to talk plenty more MCU and our feature presentation later today. So,
It's the Marvel
what do you
episode.
say? It is the Marvel episode, everyone. So, what do you say we just get to the good shit? All right, welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 17. You're here with Corey, Doug, JP, and Murph. Thanks as always for joining us. Our main topic today is the state of the MCU and what frankly feels like a cursed Phase 5, cursed post-Endgame. However, before we get to that, let's run through some news, what we watched this past week. So, as you guys already know, the fall 2020 movie season is now basically canceled as well.
It's a bloodbath out there.
This last week has been brutal. It all started with James Bond moving. Well, I guess no. It started. Sorry, since this was originally going to be filmed last week. This actually started with Black Widow moving. Since we haven't talked about that yet, which we will in our Marvel segment, but Disney made some major moves. Pushed Black Widow back to May of 2021. They pushed West Side Story from December to December 2021. Death of the Nile from October to December of this year. And Deepwater, Ben Affleck, Ana de Armas drama from November to August of next year. As of now, they're still planning on having Soul come out in November. It was going to be opening the same weekend as Bond 25, No Time to Die. But since then, No Time to Die has moved back. So now that's coming out in April of 2021, basically a year from when it was originally going to be released. It'll be coming out in Easter. Obviously, that had ramifications as well. So Fast and Furious 9 was originally going to be coming out on that date. Now that's coming out Memorial Day of 2021. We have just today, Warner Brothers announced that Dune is getting pushed back. So that was going to be coming out in December.
Yeah, almost a year now.
Yeah,
Crazy.
now it will be coming out in October of 2021. It's taken the Batman's release date. So expect an announcement very soon about the Batman getting, I'm assuming, pushed back. But we shall see what happens there. And then, Sony had their new animated film from Lord and Miller, Connected. That got pushed back. It was supposed to be coming out in October. So as of now, nothing's coming out until Soul of any major importance until Thanksgiving. But who knows if Disney will decide to either push it back or put it on Disney Plus, a la Mulan or Hamilton. And then there's plenty of other movies coming out in December that may not actually come out. Coming to America 2. Wouldn't be surprised to see that go to Netflix. Eddie Murphy's doing a lot over there. We now had the news today about Regal. They are the second biggest movie chain in America, and they will be temporarily closing because of lack of content and the fact that New York City movie theaters are yet to open. So there's going to be a lot more moves, I think, coming in the next week or two.
We had a Free Guy trailer drop today, and they still had a December 11th date on it. So
we also had a Billie Eilish "No Time to Die" music video come out, and it pushed back the next day.
Yeah, that was wild. That they, you would think that they would have just held that piece of PR, but I mean they've
must
shown
have been not the decision must not have been made until literally after the following day.
You know what this all reminds me of? It reminds me of that scene in V for Vendetta when he's talking about the one thing that goes wrong and then pushes all the dominoes down, and it's just scenes of people getting blown away and people rioting and dying, and everything's blowing up. That's kind of what it is. It's like Black Widow goes, then No Time to Die goes, then it's just fucking chaos, and they're just ripping the bottom parts of movie posters off and slapping new dates onto them, and
throwing out new final trailers.
the poor Batman that's not even finished filming is getting pushed back. Like,
I mean, I just
it's
think
already
this
going on.
point-
It's already going on its third release date. Batman.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I think at this point now, because like Tenet that experiment was such a failed experiment, that I think a lot of the the films they're going to push back because it's not worth it to try to roll the dice.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys think Wonder Woman's coming out this year?
No,
I think it
No.
depends. I think if the domino goes the other way and New York City allows theaters to open, we might see a pushback and some of them pop back up. Like, I'm pretty sure LA is not open at this point, but if
I don't
LA
think so
and
either.
New York, if their theaters start to open up, we might see some people come out and try and push out a movie. Maybe Free Guy is like the sacrificial lamb because it probably costs like 17 cents to make, outside of what they paid Ryan Reynolds.
That director of Resident Evil, what Paul Anderson,
Paul Anderson, yeah,
Paul W.S. Anderson, yeah,
Paul W.S.
he's got a
Anderson,
Monster
yeah.
Hunter movie that was supposed to be coming out in 2021, but that's actually moving up to December now. I think that's why that has more to do with the fact that they know they're going to make their money in China, and China's movie theater is doing their business is doing strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you brought up before, JP, about Free Guy, I think that might actually come out because they are going to have to test. They are going to have to test out some movies. They can't just wait forever. I just don't know if Warner Brothers. I don't know if Warner Brothers is going to put it. They've already tested it with Tenet. I don't know if they're going to want to be the sacrificial lamb again with Wonder Woman until they know shit's back to normal. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that get bumped again. But
I've posed this question before, but like, do you think now, especially, there's any possibility of Wonder Woman going digital?
No, absolutely
throwing
not.
it on digital.
No, the studios have shown that they're instead of going digital, what their plan is to just push the movie later. And so I think if anything, Wonder Woman just gets pushed later. But it kind of these pushes kind of, I mean, they suck if you're a movie theater. Because you were banking on these movies coming out this year.
Yeah.
And studios are just like, nope, we're going to push them to 2021. And then studios are left kind of holding the bag on what Free Guy being potentially the movie that brings audiences in. Like, I do think they're probably happier, though, about the fact that the studios are holding out and not putting them on digital because they clearly are staying. We need movie theaters to continue to operate. Like, it's a major source of the movie actually recouping its budget and becoming profitable, especially these really expensive ones. They can't make back a profit just on video on demand. That's what I think we're seeing from some of these ones so far. Have you seen, like, I think AMC was saying, like, all that money they raised in 6 months, they're going to burn through it all if they stay open.
Yeah, so I know Cinemark said today that they're planning on staying open. AMC, I don't know if they've said anything yet. They're the number 3 and number 1 movie theater chains throughout the United States. But
Cinemark must have a really good deal on electricity.
Yeah, I know they don't have like a footprint in New York, so that I guess played somewhat of in their decision. But I would think either way, like they're not making money. There's nothing out. Like the number 1 movie in the country this weekend was Tenet, and I think it made under $3 million.
Yikes!
It's crazy.
Hocus Pocus was the number 2 movie.
I saw that.
It's spooky season,
serious?
boys.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
dude, the weirdest movies are in theaters right now. Right?
Yo, I'll go see Hocus Pocus in theaters.
Like The Nun and Annabelle Creation opened in AMC this past week along with Hocus Pocus.
that's wild.
Empire Strikes Back for its 40th anniversary is in theaters right now.
It's kind of awesome, though. I mean, despite what's going on, this is kind of cool.
Like, it'll be much like when I'm very comfortable going to the movies all the time. I would love to see some of these movies again. It's just we're not yet at that point, but it's going to be like this for a while, where there's going to be odds and ends in theaters along with the big ones, like the new movies. But it feels like we're in deja vu right now. We've been doing this so much about these things getting pushed. It's probably going to be like this, I would say, through winter, and then hopefully things just start sticking regularly.
Do you know how much, not to go back to Hocus Pocus, but do you know how much Hocus Pocus made this weekend? I'm curious if there's a chance that they could beat
under
out
It's under $3 million, since that's what Tenet made.
Because they only made under
$3 million.
They only made under 40 million on their initial box office release, so it'd be crazy if they could somehow top it.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus
insane.
made on Sunday, October 4th, $425,000. It made $1.9 million this weekend. Pretty
Okay.
damn good, actually, for a movie that's released in, what was it, 94?
Yeah,
I
like
wouldn't
93,
be
94.
surprised, actually, if this is its highest ranking ever, like on a weekend
might have
box
been.
office. Because
Dude,
it wasn't a hit when it came out. It had like a cult
No.
following, and now it's like huge because of the
TV.
ABC Family, Halloween stuff, and everything like that. JP had a mean Hocus Pocus costume a few years back.
I did, yeah. I was
How's
the
it-
sexiest
We'll
witch.
have to throw that on the Live Breathe film.
Did any of
social
you
pages.
get pictures of that? Because you're going to have to fight me to get the pictures of it.
I'm pretty sure I could find it.
On Box Office Mojo, Hocus Pocus is ranked number one as the worst wide openings of a saturated 2,500 plus theater movie. It is
Wow.
numero uno.
And
on
that's
that list.
for this new re-release? Or is
Yeah,
this-
actually, it's for this new re-release, which makes absolutely no sense.
so it got
Should
put
probably
in
go back and take a look at that.
a ton of theaters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Box Office Mojo needs to take a look at that and realize that they're wrong, because it's up there with like things like Arctic Dogs and Friend Request.
Some classics.
Yeah. And The Goldfinch, which released last year, and I don't know what that is. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. The 1.92, it's 1.925 last weekend. That's
Little does Box Office Mojo know that they're happy with these results.
Yeah, there's like some director or something like that that's getting a kickback from this
Yeah,
movie.
some nice residuals.
Yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker just like got a check in the mail.
Oh,
No, she opened her door and there was a bale of hay waiting for her in the morning.
Matthew Broderick's just like fucking pumped right now.
Yeah. Income? Yeah.
All right, but actually, for a movie that's actually coming out this fall, we got tons of Borat 2 stuff over the past week. Official
Yeah.
title being, I don't know if you guys have heard the full title yet, but it's
Yeah.
Borat Subsequent Moviefilm, Delivery of Prodigious Bribe to American Regime for Make Benefit Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. So it's a goddamn mouthful, but right in line with the first film's title. So basically, right after we found out Amazon got the rights to the film, we found out it'd be coming out on October 23rd. So it's coming out before the election, as Sacha Baron Cohen intended, hence why it is going streaming versus just waiting till next year and getting a theatrical release. Also, the first movie was a Fox movie, and there's no way in hell Disney's putting out a Borat movie.
Yeah, it's true.
We've also gotten the teaser trailer that came out right before the first presidential debate. We had the poster come out and the first and only full-length trailer. What do you guys think? Do you think it just looked like more of the same? Anything that particularly got you excited about this film? I know I'm pumped to see Borat return, personally.
Yeah, there's some things that detracted from it for me, that there's going to be like another person going around doing the Borat voice with him, because he's got his daughter with him in this.
Yeah, what is
in
it?
this
Sarah
movie.
Jessica Parker or something?
Yeah, something like that. And that bothers me because I think that's going to get a little cheesy really fast. But I know you keep saying it's coming out right before the election, but I think they did a really good thing bringing it out right before Halloween, because with the damn amount of costumes he's wearing, it feels like a Halloween movie.
Maybe it's a stealth Halloween movie.
It seems like it.
We're going to be talking in 10 years about, is Borat 2 a Halloween movie?
He gets dressed up quite a bit, and it's kind of cool because some people actually did recognize him, and I guess that's what drove them to do that.
Yeah, it's a clever way of getting around the fact that everyone knows who Borat is.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how there's anyone in like that doesn't know who he is, where he can actually get away with just a Borat prank.
Well, I read an article about that. They filmed somewhere, and I think North Carolina at the time, and the people that were running the costume shop, the first costume shop he goes to, had no fucking idea who he was. No idea.
It's incredible.
Which I don't get it, but you know there are people out there that don't know who Borat is.
Yeah, so I was talking to someone. They're like, "How goddamn deep in the South did he have to go in order to find someone who didn't know who he was?"
I think it was North Carolina. Honestly, I don't think it was really even like the backwoods of really anywhere. But I guess there's just people that don't pay attention to this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Did you guys see earlier this year when he interrupted the Mike Pence speech?
Yeah.
No, I had no
Did
idea.
had you heard
No.
about that or anything? Because
I
I had
heard
not heard about that.
I heard about it on Reddit, but I didn't really look much into it. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember hearing that, you know, he kind of had a stunt at the event."
Because yeah, the first thing I had heard where we found out he was doing something was when he went to that one event and he was like a singer or something like that, and he was getting like a whole sing along for something ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish it was like a complete surprise. He got so close, which is amazing.
He really
Yeah.
did.
If it wasn't
was
for that
that-
article that went out shortly before, which basically confirmed the movie's done, it's in the can, people are trying to buy it.
Yeah, there was that one
because-
picture of him driving
Mhm.
too, dressed
Yeah.
as Borat.
which looks like it's in the trailer. Him driving
Yeah.
as Borat.
Can we talk
I mean, it
about
is
the
in the
music
trailer.
in the trailer? Because the Kazakhstan version of Guess Who's Back, it was fucking amazing. I want that
Yeah.
song. I want
Yeah.
to drive around town listening to it. Oh man,
Yeah, but fucking October 2020, big ass month for Sacha Baron Cohen with this
Yeah.
and Trial of the Chicago 7.
yeah.
Got his big drama and his big comedy return for Borat. So
Yeah, it'll be
Um,
interesting to see, you know, what he gets himself into, like how they kept it a secret. Because I'm sure he's gonna have like some, you know, very unique shticks that he does throughout the movie.
Oh, for sure.
Apparently, there were some dangerous things too that he did.
oh yeah,
like,
I heard
wore, like,
I heard he had to wear a
bulletproof
bulletproof
vest,
vest.
but I don't
Yeah.
know. No one knows what it is. I definitely can imagine what it could be, but you know, it'll be interesting to see what it is.
And I am looking up right now on Rotten Tomatoes, Trial of the Chicago 7, because it's in theaters now. Got 91, and the first
Oh,
review
wow.
I'm seeing is Sacha Baron Cohen steals the show. So
Damn,
as he should, right?
yeah,
he's a great actor. He
He's a
has
very
proven that.
charismatic person.
that he
Proven
is.
he's a very good actor.
Although
Now, if only they'll do Talladega Nights too.
Man, I want the Queen movie with him as Freddie Mercury.
Yes,
Before that.
me too.
There's the alternate reality where that actually came out, and
Bring back the Spider-Verse. Let's go.
that would have been very well received.
If
Doug,
that's
you were
the
gonna
only
say
thing
something?
they do in the multiverse.
Nah, I guess
I-
he wasn't.
no.
Okay. All right. What do we got next up then? Yes. In one of the stranger announcements of the past week, because this fucking last week was strange, Disney announced that they are doing The Lion King Part 2 with Barry Jenkins, the Academy Award nominated director of Moonlight, taking over the helm from Jon Favreau, and with the planned arc of the film being that it will follow both a young Mufasa, James Earl Jones, his story, and also continue Simba Nala's story. So it's going to be like a Godfather Part 2. What the
So
fuck?
weird.
I did not see this coming.
Yeah, this is strange.
I mean, when The Lion King makes a lot of money, this is what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Um,
in the top 10 of all time.
This is not the plot of Simba's Pride, right? This is like a
No,
completely new
he
story.
he came up with an original story that he wanted to tell and pitch it to Disney.
About lions.
I'm
Come
I'm
on.
I'm flabbergasted at this news.
Why?
I just didn't see this coming.
It makes no
we
sense.
had just recently talked about the animated films and the remakes and how they're of middling quality, especially the sequels. What have we gotten so far? Alice in Wonderland, absolute bomb. Maleficent 2. We got any others?
Did Maleficent 2 actually come out?
It did.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I don't know if it was supposed to be any good or not.
I never got the first one. I think that's the only 2 that have come out so far, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, back in the 90s, we got 102 Dalmatians. But of the new ones, yeah, I think we've only gotten those 2 so far.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I don't think I could have a rational thought about this if I tried.
We have a pass from Doug.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I think I went on a rant when we talked about these animated movies about how, like, the photorealism was great and all, but we need to see, like, some emotion from these guys. So hopefully they don't go the Favreau route and they, like, kind of walk that line between photorealism and cartoons, because I think we need to see some emotion from these animals.
Yeah, I'll give you that. If they did do that, I might actually be somewhat interested in watching it.
Since that was
probably
television. That probably was the biggest knock on the film, I would say, other than just being a rehash.
Other than being like a play-by-play, the exact same movie of the first one, which this one isn't.
Exactly. So it's got both those. I imagine they're going to fix the first problem, and they already have the second problem fixed. They have an incredible cast. I mean, I don't think any of us knocked any of the performances in that film. There were better ones in the cartoon, in my opinion, but everyone was still well cast. So,
I mean, who would they cast as a young James Earl Jones?
That's a good question.
That's a tough one to do because that is a
Idris Elba.
That's not bad. He's got the deep voice. I don't know if he's quite.
That's what I was thinking for. Was the deep voice.
Yeah.
And I don't know how young you're supposed to be going. I mean, because Godfather 2, Vito Corleone, Robert De Niro was only like in his late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
that's the only interesting part of this movie to me right now is who they'd cast to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine it'll probably be kind of lackluster in terms of casting.
I'm curious, like, how many lions Mufasa took out to become the king.
Oh man, they just make it straight up like Godfather 2.
It's literally the same exact movie.
Coming this summer, rated R. Lion King Part 2.
You find out Mufasa and Scar had another brother, and Mufasa killed him.
Yeah.
I knew it was you. I mean, Scar is basically like fucking Fredo.
You broke my heart, Scar.
Oh man.
Yeah, we'll get a young Scar too.
Oh,
do you think they'll bring back what's his name who played Scar?
No, I think we'll probably get a different actor as well.
So
I kind of feel like if Chadwick Boseman didn't pass away, he'd end up being Mufasa. Because he gets like all the iconic roles.
But I see that.
It's just once that wouldn't do it with the voice.
With the voice. Yeah.
Mufasa's got to have that like motherfucking king voice.
Exactly. I'm like talking myself into this just because like I don't know. It sounds crazy. So crazy it just might work. And I just can't imagine the director doing it unless it like he knows this like is going to work. Because it's not like he needs to do a Disney movie. His last movie got nominated for Oscars, and Moonlight won a bunch of Oscars. So
it's fucking Jeremy Irons that did Scar. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, that's who I. Yeah.
Wow. And then Chiwetel Ejiofor in the new one.
Yep, he was so good. He was probably my favorite part. Him and Seth Rogen.
I could picture the dude from Get Out, maybe being one of those two.
Oh, the male lead.
Yeah,
Oh no. Yeah.
yeah. Get Out.
That
I
guy.
can't. His
Forgot
name's
his name.
escaping me right now.
Don't ask me to pronounce his name.
Queen and Slim.
Yes.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Mm-hmm.
I may have mispronounced his last name because I just basically said the alcohol. But as always, we shall see how this turns out. But let's move on from news and head into what we watched over the past, say, week and a half. Corey, you watched one of Netflix's new films. What did you think of The Devil All the Time?
Oh man.
And what exactly is it? Based because that trailer, I didn't really get it. What it was.
So the movie follows it follows a son, well, father and son. It follows the father when he gets out of World War II, and basically leads into following his son, who's played by Tom Holland. The movie doesn't really have a very straightforward plot. It it the director almost tried to do a nonlinear type of film, almost like Pulp Fiction or Once Upon a Time. Like it has all these characters that aren't directly connected to each other, um, except for like things that happen in the world, in the story, that end up connecting them. So it's definitely hard to explain what the movie's really about, but it's about like these 4 or 5 characters in the South and in the 50s, and it's brutal. No, not there's one character in the movie that's actually like a good person. Every single person in the movie, other than her, is just like absolutely, insufferable and just inhumane. It's incredibly depressing. The only thing that I really liked was there were 5 or 6 scenes in the movie. I mean, with the cast that they have, there's going to be some really standout performances, and there were some really awesome performances between Robert Pattinson was amazing. Tom Holland, I think he really surprised me in this movie, because I personally have never seen him in like a dramatic role, and this was like, I thought, way out of his wheelhouse film wise, type of role that he would do, and he did a really good job, because he was in most of the film. So and he kind of held it together, but the plot was just very, very spotty, and it was hard to follow. So I lost interest a few times throughout the movie, but like when a really powerful scene happened, then it would kind of pull me back in. So that kind of happened throughout the movie a bunch of times. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably give it maybe like 2.5, 3 stars out of 5, but it wasn't great as a film. But the performances were definitely fantastic. I would watch it once. I think I mentioned this to you guys, that it reminded me a lot of Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is definitely a better film, but just with how uncomfortable the movie is, and how they continuously try to push your buttons in different ways. And for this movie, like for the time, like they, since it takes place in the 50s, there's a lot of things that are, period related, that happen, that that are just like really uncomfortable to watch. So yeah, no, I definitely recommend watching it if you're interested. But the trailer and the film, the plot is almost non-existent. There's not really like a linear plot in the film.
Yeah, the trailer honestly didn't do anything for me, which says a lot because I watch pretty much everything Netflix puts out over this pandemic. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna watch this one.
Yeah, I don't know really what the I think the director wrote it as well. I don't really know what his goal was with this film, because even when the movie ended, I was kind of just like, what? It didn't really have many redeeming qualities. It was just like the performances that, because it has all these awesome actors, there were performances that were really good, but as a whole, as a film, it wasn't very strong.
Okay. Oh, and guys, we do have some breaking news for release dates that I'm seeing right now. That Monster Hunter film that I just mentioned, it has officially moved to December 30th, 2020. So
Wow.
it's moved up from April. So it's another movie starring his wife, Mila Jovovich, Paul W.S. Anderson's wife.
God, it's going to be so bad.
Escape Room 2 has moved out of its slot in 2020.
Oh, no.
Shucks.
Shit.
To an undated weekend in 2021. So, breaking news. Maybe
It's going to be breaking by the time you hear this.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And by the time you hear this, it's like old news, but oh well. Maybe we'll find out news about the Batman before this ends.
You heard it here first in the past.
It was breaking. If only we could edit this immediately. All right. Who is next? Doug, what did this was a very TV heavy what we watched week. You watched something on HBO, am I right?
HBO Max, yeah. I watched Raised by Wolves, which is the it's like a sci-fi TV show, HBO Max. Ridley Scott, I believe, directed the first 2 episodes of it. Which now I've finished the season of Raised by Wolves, and I would say it's really interesting in the beginning and turns into Prometheus, the TV show. Gets like really heavy and like overly gets overly into like what it means to be human, what it means to be a mother with these android characters, and it just kind of lost me towards the end. But if you like Ridley Scott, you like Prometheus, you've got androids, you've got milk blood, you got a planet. We don't yet have xenomorphs, but I'm sure they're coming in season 2.
Do we have any black goo?
Season
no black
1
goo yet.
Season 1 of Raised by Wolves, just a stealth Prometheus prequel.
It's good. I think that's where it's going. Some of the stuff they did was really cool, though. It's got the main guy from Vikings, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a main character. He's pretty good. There's a group of people that pray to this god named Sol, and they wear like these night outfits with like a sun on their, like as a crest.
Okay.
And then there's like the atheists that don't really have any cool outfits, and they kind of exist. And the androids wear these like super skin tight silvery outfits, and it just looks like a very like 70s feel, 70s sci-fi feel, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, they lost me when they started to go like to Ridley Scott. But yeah, probably I would agree with that. Probably a prequel to Prometheus.
Just what everyone asked for.
Yeah. My life will have purpose again.
Now I'm motivated to watch this because I actually like Prometheus.
Then I think you would like this, Corey. I really do. I gave nothing away on the plot, so you're going in pretty fresh.
I'm
Okay.
assuming someone's raised by wolves.
No.
If they're not, that's fucking disgusting.
Is there a single wolf in this show?
No.
No.
Fuck. Nope.
It's like, I'm out.
No.
They lied.
It's false advertising.
All right, JP, you actually watched something on HBO, The Vow.
Yeah, I did. I got into the world of cults. I'm only on episode 4 currently. I'm making my way through. But if you've ever wondered how a cult forms and comes to being in the modern times, they filmed all of it. So you can watch along as people get indoctrinated into this weird, freaky, almost Scientology-like cult. And bad stuff starts happening because it's a cult. It's been really interesting so far. There's been some really frightening ends to episodes that get you really want to watch and more. Like I said, I'm only about 4 episodes into it, but I'm pretty thoroughly hooked. Once we're done recording this, I'll probably go watch episode 5.
What you mean once the Packers game ends?
That's true. Yes.
What's the score right now? How are they doing?
It's 7-0. They went for it on 4th down at the goal line and didn't get it. So the Falcons are like marching down the field.
The Patriots are now down 26-10. It was 6-3 like when we started filming this episode.
God. Yeah, they just showed a highlight of like the easiest interception I've ever seen anyone get. Just bounced off Edelman's hands and into the Chiefs.
That would explain how the score is going up as quickly as it is.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's always the playoffs.
This has been a Live, Breathe, Film sports update for a game that's already been completed.
We now give breaking sports updates.
Days after.
Coming at you with that live Monday Night Football update on Friday at 5.
Maybe I'll include like some like a little jingle before you guys are like breaking news.
Yeah.
So from this fun,
I definitely recommend it if you like creepy. If you're part of like that whole informative murder porn type stuff and like wacky stuff like cults, this is definitely worth a watch because they filmed everything. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
It's a good watch.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys were talking about it at the bar a week or so ago, I believe.
Yeah, Andy's been all over it, and it just took us a while to get to it.
Sounds interesting.
When they everyone described to me, I thought they were recreating most of it with actors and stuff. And then when I started watching, I realized they filmed everything. He wanted a documentary about himself, so he had filmmakers just rolling at all times. And one guy recorded every single phone call he ever made for some reason. I don't understand why, but it works out really well when you make a documentary.
Cool.
It's good stuff.
All right, and then as for myself, I watched the first 3 episodes of season 4 of Fargo, which is airing now on FX. You can catch the 3 episodes on FX on Hulu if anyone wants to catch it. But the Fargo TV show, it's set in the world of the Coen brothers Fargo film. Each season is, I'd say, 90-something% unconnected. All new casts every single season. I think only maybe one person has appeared, like the same actor has appeared as their character in 2 seasons. So you really could start with any season and be fine. But this season is spearheaded by Chris Rock. Besides him, we've got Jason Schwartzman, Ben Whishaw, a.k.a. Q from the Bond movies. Timothy Oliphant has a recurring role. He showed up in episode 3. He's a U.S. Marshal, so right on brand for him. But yeah, each season, basically, you're going to be getting a lot of quirky characters and a lot of violence. And season 4 is living up to that so far. This season is actually set in 1950 in Kansas City, Missouri. It's dealing with the competing crime families of Kansas City. The first episode does a really good job of showing the shifting people in charge. So it starts out with the Jewish gangs, then moves to the Irish, the Italians, and then the blacks in 1950. So
it's not about Fargo.
No, this season is not anywhere near North Dakota. It's got one character in it that is from there. And she's like the wild card of the season so far. She's a nurse. She's euthanizing patients. Real fucking weird character. So
American Horror Story?
No, because it's hilarious because she's talking in her "don't you know" type of voice. And the show is very humorous when it comes to death.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's so far of these 3 episodes, I thought it was the best since the first season. I'm completely hooked. I wasn't expecting to watch 3 episodes in a row last night, but it really got me. So I'm very excited for how the season goes along, and I highly recommend it, whether you've watched the show in the past or haven't.
All right.
Interesting. Yeah, I watched the first season and then they kind of lost me.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You watched the whole season,
Yep.
and then you started season 2?
Like an episode.
Okay. Yeah, season 2 was really critically acclaimed, but I thought it was a step down from the first. And 3 was good, but nothing great. I think this is definitely the best since season 1.
And you said I can start season 4 without having seen
Oh yeah,
the middle.
absolutely. It takes place 20 something years before season 2.
Oh wow.
So you're not going to be losing anything from not having watched season 2. In fact, you can go and watch season 2 after, if there are any connections, because you're not going to be getting any of the same actors or anything like that.
Cool. It's pretty cool when they do that. I mean, it's a mixed bag when every season's kind of its own thing, because some people like the continuity between seasons, and I guess maybe for someone like Doug, if you turn on the next season expecting a continuation of the first one, I don't know if that was your deal or you just weren't into the thing. It could turn some people off, I could see, but it's interesting though, because you could just pick up any season and just roll
exactly,
with it,
and
neat.
It's the same like showrunner for all the seasons, so you're like he's writing, directing, so the tone is always pretty consistent.
Yeah,
it's just about, do you like the characters and where they're going with the plot. But this whole warring crime families and dealing with like who's really American, like because it's dealing with all immigrants that become invested in crime. It's pretty interesting stuff. But going on to what a bunch of us watched over this past week, we'll actually take a break from TV and go to a movie real quick. Doug, you and I both watched The Babysitter on Netflix over the past week or so. I actually watched the first 2, but we will hold off on talking about the second until after you catch up on that. I think Corey and JP are both planning on watching the first one at least at some point in time. But what did you think of The Babysitter? Just to give everyone an idea, it's about a high school kid who's has a babysitter still, and it's
Is he even high school? I thought he was like 14.
I think he's like a freshman in high school.
Okay.
He's a junior in high school in the second one. So it's possible he's 8th grade. But yeah, it deals with demonic cults. It's a funny horror movie. I would compare it to something like Ready or Not, but more sophomoric in its humor than Ready or Not. But it's got another fantastic star turn from Samara Weaving, who from Ready or Not, and does deal with some similar stuff. What did you think of it, Doug?
I enjoyed it. So it was a really easy watch. Runtime was about an hour and a half. So it kind of fly through it. That's like comedy time. I feel like I haven't watched a movie in a long time. That's 90 minutes. But it was fun. I think what I told you, Murph, is like it wasn't. I didn't have as much fun as I did with like Happy Death Day, where I thought like Happy Death Day was just like nonstop fun. But it was fun enough, and it got more fun as the story goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the characters were good. I thought Samara Weaving did a good job. I actually like her more in Ready or Not, but I think you disagree with me there.
I think I liked her more in this one.
Yeah, and I think it was more just like I like seeing her turn into a badass in Ready or Not.
Yeah,
where you don't really get that, although you do get a turn with the character. But yeah, I thought the cast was pretty good. Robbie ML was pretty funny with his like shirtless guy gag throughout
for like the entire movie.
I'm not as familiar with like outside of Samara Weaving and Robbie ML. I'm not really familiar with the other actors, but they all seem to do a pretty good job. They're pretty funny. The cheerleader chick I thought was did a good job of.
Yeah, Bella Thorne from OnlyFans.
Wait, really? She's in this movie?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, she was good. I thought she was like funny. She did what she had to do.
She was funny.
Um,
The neighbor girl was actually in Doctor Sleep. She's the one. She's the young cult member in that one.
oh, so I didn't even recognize her.
Yeah.
But now that you're saying it,
Snakebite Andy, I think her name was in the movie.
wow. Yeah,
And
I mean,
then-
it's crazy. Like, I watched the trailer for the second one. Did you have something more you want to say about this one, Murph?
I was just gonna say Ken Marino's also in it, so you're getting
Ooh.
some laughs from him. He plays
Love
the kid.
Ken Marino.
He plays the kid's dad. Leslie Bibb from
The Skulls.
Sam Rockwell's wife, and the reporter in Iron Man 1 and 2. She's his mom. So they have some funny stuff together.
Yeah, it was kind of weird seeing them as like the parents, I guess.
Yeah.
Or at least that's kind of where I was like, I feel like I'm at that point of movies where I relate more to the parents than I do the kids.
Yeah, I don't like seeing these actors like who we watched in like the younger roles now suddenly having like teenage kids. It's like, oh shit, we're aging.
Yeah, so that was kind of depressing. But
What were you gonna
Well,
say
the
about
kid-
the trailer for the sequel?
oh, it was just crazy. Like, what, 2 years passed since that movie came out, and it's like crazy how much older the kids look from
Yeah.
that movie to this movie.
Yeah, I think The Babysitter came out in October 2017, and this one just came out the second one, Babysitter Killer Queen, just came out last month.
Okay, so it's more like three years.
Yeah, it's like 3 years. And
Yeah,
they're both very big on Queen songs. Hence the subtitle for the second one.
But it looked fun. I don't want to. I know you said don't watch the trailer, so I'm not going to give away what was in the trailer. But it looked fun. But yeah,
I made the same mistake you did, where I watched the trailer right after, and then it was actually after watching the trailer right after where I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this movie, and I ended up watching them back to back. Not as good as the first, but it does have some fun twists. And the movies have like a surprising amount of heart to them too. In like the last, like in like the end of each of them, which I was not expecting based on the tone of the rest of the movies. I don't know if you felt that with the end of the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did have some heart. I wasn't sure where the movie was going when I first started watching it, and I'm gonna be cryptic about it because I don't want to give it away for the other guys. But I was unclear as to what exactly was gonna happen to make. I knew where the movie was gonna go, but I was unclear as how we were gonna get there, and so I didn't necessarily see it coming the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
So good on them for that, because I hate when I can like spot it ahead of time.
And I should note that it's from Mick G, the director of Charlie's Angels and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Yes.
So this guy hasn't made like a good movie ever. So I was I was surprised I liked it. Terminator Salvation was fucking bad.
He doesn't even have a full name.
Exactly. He couldn't afford it. We Are Marshall, not that good.
I remember that name, and then I remember seeing that Mick G, because I watched the trailer for the second one just on Netflix one day, and I said, "Oh, that looks pretty funny." I said, "Who the fuck's Mick G? Is this a goddamn joke?" And then I remember there was a director called Mick G.
Yeah, he did stuff like over a decade ago. Now he's just like a Netflix director.
Jesus, Mick Jesus. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Corey and JP watching it so we can all talk Babysitters next week.
Yeah, JP, I think you said you were going to watch the Happy Death Day movies during this spooky season.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely on there for the spooky season thing. I gotta catch Hocus Pocus first to really start it off. But yeah, we've been watching like Addams Family and stuff like that.
We didn't.
I watched Hocus Pocus the other day.
JP, we fucked up. We didn't include Addams Family Values or the last 30 minutes of Big Daddy on our what multiple people watched.
That's true. That is true. I mean, when you watch it drunk out of your mind, it's forgettable. So,
but they are both classic movies.
They are.
So,
they are indeed.
2 big thumbs up. Or
Anytime you need to get out of a legal lawsuit, just make the whole court cry, and they'll just let you go.
and just hope Jon Stewart saves the day after he realizes that he has no choice but to do so, or your best friend's going to jail.
He lets you hang out to dry for like a full trial. Take him to jail. No, wait, hold on this whole time.
And then Addams Family Values. Yeah, you get Janusz from Ghostbusters 2
Fucking
in a star turn as
so good.
the camp counselor or camp director, whatever he is, with Christine Baranski.
Yeah. A lot of hidden gems in those movies.
Yeah. So we'll move on those.
Yeah.
To what was we'll go back on script. To two TV shows, which if you've been listening for the past few weeks, you know we watch. The first being Lovecraft Country on HBO. Corey and Doug, you both have watched episode 6 and 7 along with myself. Corey, did you watch episode 8?
I did. I watched it last night
Okay.
when it premiered.
No spoilers on that, but what did you think about episode 8?
I really liked it. Continues to tie things together, and it definitely has some really scary bits or creepy bits that I wasn't expecting. Definitely another unexpected episode with its content and where it goes. I think you guys will really like it. But
what's the general? Unless Doug, you don't want to hear this, but what's the general like?
Do you want me to tell you who it follows?
Like, what genre is this episode?
I would say that it's more. It definitely follows like more of a straight up horror type of feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I would say so, but also kind of tying in themes of the previous episodes, because now as we're getting to the end of the season, they're starting to tie things together. So it was kind of like a mix, but there's one larger plot line that is very much reminds me of Get Out and Us. Like, it definitely shows like Jordan Peele, like, definitely I think was involved in this episode. But yeah, I mean, you guys will see. I mean, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Okay. So episode 6 and 7, obviously, because it's Lovecraft Country, they're completely fucking different. Episode 6, we're in, where are we? South Korea?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. I think so.
We're in South Korea. We're following completely new characters we've never seen before. It's a flashback episode. Tick appears about halfway into it. But what a fucking weird episode.
I liked it though.
I really liked it also.
You like the tentacle porn of it all?
The reason why I liked it was
Doug goes, yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I liked it is because they took like a piece of mythology, not obviously from our like mythology, but like from Asia, the Nine-Tails Fox, and made it into something horrific. You know, they turned it into like what they've done, I think, throughout the season is they take mythology from different different parts of the world, and kind of like twist them into, a more horror themed like version. And I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, there's something about, I mean, that's like a kind of a almost classic horror trope now, right? The attractive female lures the unsuspecting guy, has sex with him, and then kills him. I mean, we've seen that a few times with like Aliens doing it, or so. I mean, it's like it's definitely not something
Shout
new.
out
But
to Species.
And that other movie with Scarlett Johansson that I can't think
Black
of.
Widow.
Yeah, I mean, I also thought it was very tragic.
Lost in Translation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was very tragic, like just the whole story. I mean, at first you didn't really know kind of like the whole basis of how everything was going, what was going on, and then as the story unfolded, you know, you really started to kind of feel bad for the main character. I forgot her name, but I mean, she wasn't even human
Yeah,
at this
Jamie Chung from Sucker Punch
point. Yeah,
played her.
and she wasn't. It the twist was cool because, like, you know, at first, you know, you didn't really feel anything for this character. At least I didn't. And then as the episode went on, really the mother ended up being the monster, even though she was actually a monster herself. Well, I mean, like, not human, I guess. So I thought that was a cool twist.
Yeah, I thought it was the better of the two episodes.
Oh yeah,
I'm
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of getting a little
JP'd.
over the show. Yeah, I'm getting
Welcome,
JP.
join the club, Murph.
It's just it's something I feel like I'm just watching just to finish the season and then give up on it. It's just so different every single episode, and if it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. Like episode 8 is a perfect example, or what was it?
7.
Or sorry, episode 7
Seven.
was a perfect example of an episode that I just did not give a shit about. It was similar to episode 2 for me.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Under the Skin, by the way, is the Scarlett Johansson movie I was trying to think of.
Oh, okay. I mean, I will say that based on the last episode, the most recent one, they definitely are kind of like going back to where everything started in a way, you know, back to the present time, and I guess tying everything together. So maybe by the end you'll feel a little bit more like satisfaction, I guess. That's kind of feel, because I feel the same way, like, but I enjoyed the past 2 episodes, the ones we're talking about, for different reasons, but I still felt like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what is going on with this entire show? And after this episode, you kind of feel like they're starting to tie things together, but I guess we'll see if it works.
Yeah, I mean, I liked 6 a lot. Well, not a lot, but I liked it. I thought it was well done through the entire episode. 7, though, lost me for sure. I like the fact that there was a character that we hadn't really seen any or know anything about, got a lot of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
He got some development. I thought that was probably needed because I didn't really know anything about the character, but the way they did it, I'd say the beginning of it, I was really interested, like watching her get to the facility, time travel facility or whatever the hell she wound up.
Yeah.
I was really into it at that point. But then when she goes on her journey, I was like, this is still, maybe it was like too weird for me. I don't really know what it was, but once she went on her journey, it like felt more and more ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah. And so
I felt like it didn't really have any substance. Like, it was just her traveling until the last time period that she traveled to. But everything else just didn't. It just felt like kind of nonsense. Like, it didn't really have any substance for me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think I enjoyed this show probably more than you do, Murph, but I agree that they swing for the fences, and when they miss, they miss. And that 7 was definitely a miss.
Mm-hmm. 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 Oh, one call out I have for the episode, that yesterday's episode. I thought that there were some really cool Easter eggs to Nightmare on Elm Street. So keep that in mind. I'd like to know if you guys kind of pick it out.
Great flick. So I will definitely look out for that.
Sweet.
All right.
By that he means Johnny Depp's in it.
Let's get into our final thing that we watched this week. And as anyone knows who listens to us, you'll know what we're talking about. The Boys. Best fucking show on TV right now, in my opinion.
He's not caught up yet, but he will soon.
So yeah,
by next week.
Yeah, I mean, you got
this week.
Thursday is the series or the season finale.
Yeah.
So
it's all part of the plan.
We're talking about.
I'm gonna binge.
We'll see. We are talking about the penultimate episode 7. what a fucking opener. Fat Neil from Community just completely getting indoctrinated into the fear mongering of Stormfront. And
Was that Fat Neil?
That was Fat Neil.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even recognize him he had a beard, right?
It was Charlie Kuntz, I believe his name is. And yeah, he just murders a innocent. But man, that was a chilling opening.
It was shocking. I didn't know which way they were going to go with it because he keeps waking up and doing the same thing every day. I didn't know if he was going to kill himself and then when they made the whole thing with the shopkeepers, like another reason to hate Stormfront.
Yeah, Stormfront is an asshole. Everything with Homelander's son was like cringeworthy to watch.
Yep.
As they completely destroyed the relationship with his mom. That was just fucking mean, but what would you expect from Homelander? And just another horrible act.
It's true.
Doug, did you finish Community? Yeah, season 6?
No.
God damn it, man. Just finish the show. What do you have, like 5 episodes left?
I was so close, and then I forgot about it, I think.
All right, well, remember, finish it this week, and we'll talk about it next week. Yeah, what else did you guys like from the episode, or anything you didn't like?
Well, I mean, we've already used this in actual conversation, but I now have my new call to charge. Do you want to be the cuck, or do you want to be the guy that fucks the wife? Let's go fuck the wife.
Yeah, we were talking about that this weekend.
Yeah, that was funny. The porn scene.
It was really funny.
The best was the cut when you think that Huey's watching about Starlight getting arrested, but instead it's about fucking porn.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Yeah. I don't, and I'm like a huge boys fan, but I don't like this season as much as I did the first season. And the reason
because you think I'll let you say it.
Oh yeah, I think it's just not. Whereas the first season felt like we had a trajectory and we were going somewhere, the second season doesn't feel like it knows where it wants to go. And I wouldn't be as worried or probably feel the way as I do now, except for the fact that this next episode is the last episode, and I don't know that we really. I don't know. It's kind of felt meandering the entire way through. It's been hilarious and it's been fun, but as far as like an overall story, I don't really know that I really understand I don't really know that the writers understand where they were planning on going with some of these plot lines.
Yeah, season 1 definitely felt more like a straight line. That the audience was following the entire time, knew exactly where they were headed. While season 2 just seems it has a lot of different plot threads, and they haven't yet tied together. So I don't know. My hope is they do next week.
I just don't see how.
We shall see.
One episode.
I have a general idea. I think I said this one other week. It just seems like Stormfront and Homelander are going to just start rallying whatever superheroes can come to their cause. Like the whole 7 thing seems like it's done with, and they're they're getting progressively more outwardly evil as they go.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken the kid. They're probably going to try and raise him as some super evil, but not in their eyes, sort of ally.
So
and
yeah, I have a theory about the kid. I think that maybe they're going to use him to create like a more stable form of Compound V.
I mean, they could. He's the only
They
natural.
talked about how he was the only natural. Yeah. I was like, there's got to be like a reason they want.
Also, how has there not been another natural born by now? No superheroes made a baby yet.
Well, maybe Homelander's just special.
Yeah.
Well, we know that what's her face? Stormfront had a kid.
That's true, but she didn't have superpowers. I guess.
She may not have been a soup when she.
She may have also had the kid before she was a soup.
Yeah,
that's true as well. What
about? Still not listening, right?
didn't what's his face last season? Haley Joel Osment, didn't he have a kid?
Yep.
He did, yeah. So I guess it's only superpowered children.
I don't know. Don't ask.
Yeah, it's. There's a lot of questions to be answered. Why are heads blowing up?
Yeah, that's the big question. Why are the heads blowing up? I don't have a clue. Do you
think
I
guys
have
be
a
the big
theory
reveal.
too, but I'll keep that to myself because I feel like I'm probably right.
Write it down, put it in an envelope, seal it, and then open it on the podcast next week.
Yeah, that's one where I kind of think I'm right, and I don't want to spoil it. I mean, what did you guys think though about? And I read an interview with Kripke that was just kind of heartbreaking, and that the Shawn Ashmore, just like, what are you guys doing?
the
Yeah,
self-immolation of him?
It was just like he became like such a. I felt like there was so much more to do with that character.
yeah.
That it was like, what are you guys doing? You guys have this gem right now. Like, why are you?
It was shocking.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the interview I'm referencing with Kripke was like, he was like, had we known that Shawn Ashmore was going to be the guy that filled this role, and he was going to be as good as he was, we would not have planned it.
You gotta fucking pivot. You gotta pivot on the fly.
You gotta rewrite. You gotta listen to A Train's rewrites and do them. You know,
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was kind of
movie.
disappointed that they like knew that. I guess they use the hands the way they get out of the facility, and so. But like, if he's alive, he could have just put his hand to the. I don't know.
Yeah, you could figure out a way.
They could have read it. It kind of annoyed me that they were like, "Oh yeah, he was so good. We wish we didn't kill him off."
And
Yeah.
if you're talking about wasting talent, though, John Noble, like that, as Butcher's dad, like that whole scene, I could have done without.
like 7 minutes of useless conversation, and then he's gone.
Like, why do we care?
Yeah, and I wish he didn't have to do like the Butcher Cockney accent, because it was like, I might need subtitles because you guys are. It's like this Australian Cockney thing that just is like super hard to understand and hard to follow. And yeah, John Noble's good as like a sympathetic character, to me at least, on Fringe, and so.
I mean, he was good in Lord of the Rings. I hated him in it.
Yeah, he was a villain in that one.
Yeah,
But I love him, and I didn't love how they used him. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I'm hoping
that
they
was a
bring
big
him
flaw.
back and he does something.
he has a fucking point to being on the show.
Yeah, he has a point
Maybe-
to being there.
Why do we keep
Maybe
talking about Butcher's brother? What's so important about him?
I don't know. Maybe that's just a key point for next season. Maybe it's got something to do with the way this last episode ends and then starts into the next season.
Maybe
It's
I don't know. I'm hoping it does come together. I'm hoping the last episode is like at least an hour and a half so we can wrap shit up. But
yeah, they've all been over an hour for the most part, a little bit over an hour. So I would expect a supersized episode.
I hope so. I think we have got a lot of ground to cover.
That we do.
Yeah.
And we will.
I think it'll be kind of crazy though. I think this is gonna be like a real nuts episode. Speaking of nuts,
I was gonna say, who wants an almond joy?
yeah, the Almond Joy is the biggest villain to Black Noir. It makes perfect sense now why he made her throw that out.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
glad
like
they,
this whole season's been brought to you by Almond Joy, apparently, because Huey's been making fun of Starlight for eating them.
Yeah, I would have. I'm guessing they're a sponsor.
They must.
Maybe, but I mean they've just been shit on this whole time, and rightfully so. It's an awful candy
It
bar.
really, that is like one where I would dread getting it in my Halloween bag.
Oh yeah, you can't give those away. No one's gonna trade you for them. You just throw them right in the garbage.
Exactly.
My mom used to eat Almond Joy, but I'm
Fucking
not
lame ass
100% sure.
packaging, lame ass candy.
Yeah,
Almond
it's a
Joy,
beat candy
fuck
bar.
you. Almond Joy does not bring Live Breathe Film to the airwaves. Not a
I mean,
sponsor.
Almond Joy.
It's all about the Reese's.
But if you want to work with us, we will.
Yeah, I mean, just give us a call. You know, we can edit that out. Not a big
we
problem.
have changed our minds before.
The boys.
Live Breathe Film's top 5 movies featuring Almond Joy.
Yeah, we could do some product placement. We're fine with that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
we're
eat an
flexible.
Almond Joy the whole time. I'll even pretend like I like it.
All right, Corey,
Yeah.
watch the fucking boys this week so you
Yeah,
can join
seriously.
in
Yeah,
on
we
the
can do,
conversation next week.
If you don't, we're gonna blow your head up.
And we could.
I plan it over the next 48 hours.
There you go.
All right,
So you have it
Sounds
on.
good.
You have it on record. So
perfect. We will be back next week to talk about the season finale.
Yep.
But before we get to next week, we still have a feature presentation and the films of 1990 to talk about.
Yeah.
So, as we talked about earlier, we're heading right back to superheroes, and we're talking the state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, particularly what's coming up in Phase 4. I guess pretty much just Phase 4, unless some of these are Phase 5. I don't really know what exactly is what anymore. But this thing seems fucking cursed for something that was like on such a roll for 12 years, 11 years. Nothing seems to be going right now for the MCU. We can start right now by going over just the fact that they put themselves in a position of transition with Phase 4 in the fact that their two biggest superheroes from the original Phase 1 through 3, Iron Man and Captain America, cannot return for these films due to Tony Stark dying in Endgame and Captain America becoming an old dude and retiring in Endgame. They couldn't control that though. They had long-lasting deals. We're lucky to have Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans as long as they were. But the fact of the matter is they were massive characters and they're now gone. We're also going to be losing Black Widow. Her character is already passed in Endgame. Now we're getting at least the one spinoff film, which is a prequel. I highly doubt we are getting any more with Scarlett Johansson after this. Thank God for Chris Hemsworth returning for seemingly forever, because he's down to do Thor probably till the end of time, since it's his big fucking iconic role. And other than his one Netflix movie, he really doesn't have any other hits.
He doesn't have to get in shape for it anymore either.
Yeah, that's true. Just Fat Thor. He can play that role as long as he wants.
Yeah.
But I think Taika saved Thor because he looked like he was getting tired of that until
we probably would be done with Thor if it wasn't for
it was definitely getting stale.
Taika.
Sure.
Yeah, it was crappily written character, two pretty bad movies, and I really didn't care if he stayed or went. And yeah, I mean Ragnarok really lit the fire on that.
Yeah. Hemsworth is the Russo brothers. Just also like I feel like just got the character right after Taika knocked it out of the park. They're like, okay, yeah, this is how you do the character. Because while he was great in Infinity War as well, but he was definitely much funnier in Endgame, I would say.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I mean, he definitely has the range to do the dramatic stuff, but he always knocks it out of the park when it comes to being the comedic fire of any film. I mean,
like Ghostbusters 2016.
He was the only part of that movie that I actually enjoyed. I hated that movie, but he was funny.
He was the funniest part in it. There wasn't much competition.
No, but still.
But yeah, I mean, so we've talked. Sorry, JP.
No, I'm just gonna say like they really nailed it on the head. They put him in his spot as the comedic relief. It almost seemed like in the beginning of all the Avengers movies, they were trying to make Captain America like the comedic relief with this little like I understand that reference. And when they got funny Thor, Captain America is now allowed to be the more serious badass type of guy with the little bit of comedy here and there, and they just let Thor be the fish out of water the whole time. Which he should be because he's on an alien planet the whole time when they're doing stuff. So,
yeah, if there's one thing that the creative team has done over the years is like find like the perfect spot and place for each character, each Avenger. I feel like they've done that. It might have taken them a few years to actually figure it out, but I feel like at this point they've really all the current Avengers they've really found like their perfect place in the films.
Yeah.
I think.
And of those original 6 Avengers, we're still not done with Hawkeye or with the Hulk. So Jeremy Renner, and Mark Ruffalo will be back, but they're never going to be getting their own like trilogies or anything like that. They're just supporting characters. Hawkeye will be having his own TV show, TBD when that's coming out. But yeah, of the Phase 1 guys, really all we got left as like the star is Hemsworth. But Phase 2 and 3, I would definitely say the breakout character was Black Panther. I mean, that movie was the third biggest movie of all time in America. I believe now it's 4 because of Endgame. But yeah, I have to think he was going to be carrying a lot of the load moving forward, based on the reception to him in Civil War, Black Panther, and the Avengers films.
Yeah, for sure. He was.
Yeah.
The Black Panther was iconic. I'm pretty sure people were crying in my theater in Infinity War when he got dusted. Yeah, I mean,
the crowd went wild when we went to Wakanda in Infinity War the first time they showed it, and like the music started playing.
Yeah, you could just feel it in the theater, the way the crowd felt about that character.
Yeah, I would say he had the biggest pop in Infinity War outside of Captain America's first appearance in the subway station and Thor appearing with his
the axe, Stormbreaker.
In Wakanda. I'd say those 3 had the biggest pops in that film. But
yeah,
we've now, as we've spoken about in depth, we've lost Chadwick Boseman. Fuck cancer. So the dude who was going to be doing Black Panther 2, which would have been absolutely huge. Now the future of that series is in question. We don't know where exactly they're going with that. And who is the biggest Phase 2, Phase 3 hero now at this point?
Probably
Spider-Man?
Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel.
I think they could make
Really?
it Captain Marvel's, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be her because she's. I mean,
I think that's
just
who they
so
want.
bland. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't
I
feel,
feel
like
like it'd be
anyone
a real
connected to
bad idea to
Captain
do
Marvel.
that.
I thought Doctor Strange, people would connect it to more than Captain Marvel.
I mean, I love Doctor Strange, but I think he's just too weird for the mainstream. I don't think people really connect. Like the Marvel fans will connect with him, but I think like the mainstream, it's just it's too weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like Doctor Strange that much either. I feel like if you're gonna do it, I think it would be cool if they. I mean, obviously, it's completely different now because this show's Falcon and Winter Soldier's already been written and it's filming and all that. Make Anthony Mackie take it up and bring everyone back together because there's really like we lost Iron Man, we lost Captain America, we lost a lot of the entrenched heroes. Thor's off on another cosmic adventure, and it'd just be nice to see Anthony Mackie take up that mantle, or I mean, I guess Sebastian Stan, but they all kind of suck at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking Spider-Man's their biggest guy now, based on like fan reaction. But
Yeah,
you can't put your faith in a character that you don't even own.
yeah.
I mean, we
give
almost
Sony way too much power.
We already lost him we thought we lost him for a brief sec, and after Far From Home came out, and Sony's like, nah, we're not going to be playing ball anymore. And
Yes, you are.
Disney was basically like, all right, then
Enjoy being poor.
they fucking blinked and they're back. But I mean, that was kind of an embarrassing little public to do between those two companies. But I think now, what do we get them for? We get them for Spider-Man 3 and 2 other films.
It's going to happen again?
Or one other MCU film, or 2 other MCU films. But yeah, it will likely happen again, because these short-term deals, we're going to be dealing with it every few years. So I don't know if you could put the faith in them. I would.
No, definitely.
It's not a single hero, but I would say Guardians of the Galaxy is definitely one of the biggest as well. But we have no idea when the next one's coming out.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And
we don't
they're
have a new
never
movie for
on
a while.
Earth.
They're not on Earth. They're not going to be starting up like the Avengers or anything. I feel like they're going to go back to doing their own crazy, wacky adventures. Eventually, come back and tie in with everyone. Hopefully, do more stuff with Thor and Chris Hemsworth. But I mean, because Disney fired James Gunn, we would have gotten Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 this past May. Well, we wouldn't have because of COVID, but it would be probably
It'd be floating around the nether somewhere.
Yeah, we would have
would've gotten a
seen a
trailer.
bunch of trailers for it by now.
Yeah.
Because for all intents and purposes, it sounded like that was going to be the kickoff film for Phase 4 originally, until they made the
They fired him for
stupid
stupid
decision of
reasons.
firing him for fucking trolls on the internet, and then rehired him later. But God knows when this film's going to be made and actually be released now. I would imagine it will be like a Phase 5 movie.
Yeah, or maybe just the bridge between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, at the
there's
very
really
end.
nothing to bridge these two phases together. It just, this one, honestly, it just feels like a blob. It just feels
Yeah,
low energy and
Yeah, I think you're
boring.
right.
It feels like Phase 2. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be a
Uh,
stopgap, I think.
or
Yeah,
maybe
no, I
it's
agree.
probably going to be a
Stopgap.
mix of Phase 1 and 2, because you're going to get a lot of new intro characters with like Shang-Chi, Eternals. Yes, are those the only 2 new ones that are coming out? And then the rest are
Yeah.
sequels.
We're not even getting an Avengers, like a mainline Avengers film in Phase 4, right? So,
No.
yeah. I
mean,
mean, that doesn't. Yeah, no. I mean, I think the characters that we have to look forward to aren't any of these characters. It's when they finally introduce the X-Men, when they introduce Fantastic Four. I mean, that's when
Yeah.
they have real characters again. But these guys aren't headliner characters.
Yeah, I think you're right. That these are like the transitional characters until X-Men and Fantastic Four, you don't get much bigger than that with
Yeah.
Marvel comics, like in
Well,
the history of those comics.
the problem is they already did the big thing. They did the Avengers. So, I mean, X-Men is big, but who gives a shit about the Fantastic Four when you already had the Avengers come together?
yeah, I mean,
It's sad. But
I know Murph and I have talked about this before, but like they blew their load already. I feel like Infinity War and Endgame. You're not.
Yeah,
gonna get
I
any
don't think
bigger
you
than
ever
that.
top those.
Which
And
I'm
I'm-
fine with. I'm
yeah.
completely fine with, because that was, as a fan, that was like beyond satisfying for me. But I don't think they're ever going to top that again.
But it seems like they're
Ever.
still trying to do that. They're still trying to be like, hey,
They could
guys,
try.
hype it up. Hype it up. Here's the Eternals.
Yeah.
Here's Shang-Chi and the Nine Rings.
Shang-Chi is
10 rings.
puzzling to me. 10 rings, yeah.
10
Shang-Chi's
rings, sorry.
puzzling to me. I
You're
have
missing
no
a
idea-
ring.
Yeah.
I cut
Cut a finger off.
The
The Mandarin's
Eternals
missing a finger.
The Eternals, if they do it correctly, could be interesting, but it's not going to be that. It's going to be like, it's not going to be the Avengers. It's not. That's
No.
not what it is. They're not that strong of characters. It'll be interesting if they do it correctly. But
Calling back from earlier today. Mahershala Ali is going to play fucking Mufasa. That's what I'm thinking.
oh, there
Ooh.
you go. That's a good one.
Speaking of Mahershala
Because
Ali,
exactly. I got that in my head.
So
the
when are we
only
going to
Marvel
get that?
movie I'm looking forward to is Blade.
Yep.
When are we supposed to get that? To pivot
Never.
off of it. Are we? Is
think
that a phase?
never.
Is that
It's
phase
not
5?
Phase 4,
I think
it's at
that's
least
that'll
Phase
pro- if
5.
that'll be a Phase 5. Yeah.
That's got to be its own thing, though, right? Because there's no way you
don't think
fit
so.
Blade into this fucking Marvel universe.
I think
Yeah.
he's going to be in the universe,
I
but
do
he's
not
not
know.
going
Dude,
to be
I
an
watched
Avenger.
I watched the first Blade the other day, and holy shit,
Still
it's a
so
good,
good.
movie.
Yep.
I mean, everyone talks about Chadwick Boseman being the first, black superhero. You forget about Blade and how fucking badass Blade is. Like when you first see him in the movies and all the vampires are swarming on the guys and they all back away and just pans up to Wesley Snipes and they're all afraid of him. Holy shit, that's cool.
Him and Chris Christopherson they killed it. They were so good together. But
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
two good movies.
I think we get Blade and Fantastic Four in Phase 5, and the X-Men come in Phase 6, and that'll be when maybe they do an Avengers versus X-Men, and that's your big arc for these
Here's a
next
question.
3 phases.
Here's a question: do you think Phase 4 comes out and it's a fucking blob, like it's just this amorphous garbage ass phase?
It's gonna be a mess just because it's not going.
Do you think they push the X-Men up as a save us, Professor X? We
I don't
need
think
you.
they need to do that. I think that people are going to go see it, and the movies are going to make money, even though they know that it's not going to be. It's just going to be like a stopgap. It's
But
just
will
not
they
going,
though?
We'll see.
I mean,
I think they. I
mean,
think people will.
They
go
still have a
see
lot
it.
of
I know I
shit.
will.
Like I don't know if Ant-Man 3 is going to be Phase 4 or 5. I imagine Guardians Volume 3 will be Phase 5. Blade will be 5. Fantastic Four will be 5. Probably get another sequel to either Thor, Doctor Strange, or Captain Marvel. Or probably for Eternals or Shang-Chi, one of these like first ones that are coming out. So I think
they even going to do a Captain Marvel sequel?
Yeah, it's got a release date already.
It's planned and everything. Okay,
yeah,
see that.
It's July of 2022, so it'll come out like 2023.
Gotcha.
You wonder now because their two main characters for Phase 4 were definitely Captain Marvel and Black Panther. And unfortunately now with Chadwick Boseman, his passing, you wonder what, Captain Marvel's not going to be able to like hold that, that up herself. She's just not that interesting of a character, but with Chadwick Boseman, with Black Panther, it was definitely doable. So I wonder how they're going to, tweak it now. Like, are they just going to still move forward with Black Panther 2 and then bring, I don't know, Michael B. Jordan, or do T'Challa's sister? Like, are they gonna?
It's gonna get pushed back. Captain Marvel will move up probably.
Yeah.
But when I say it'll move up, I also mean it's gonna move back because with COVID, a lot of these movies are still gonna go.
But they'll switch places.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously sorry, you go before.
No, I'm just going to harp on it being a weak core.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, absolutely.
Even before all that, I mean, Captain Marvel and Black Panther is just they just got rid of too many people, and I know it's a contractual thing, but they didn't really set themselves up for for success down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would have been.
They were very top heavy with which heroes were the best.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with what I got,
But I don't even know. I don't even know who I would have, who I would have kept out of like the original core. Like I loved how Captain America had his send off. So Steve Rogers had his send off, and also Tony Stark. So it's really one of the two. Like one of them would have been, kind of the glue to keep everything together for one more phase. But I wouldn't want to trade that for what we got.
Yeah, but if you keep one of them, then they get a protege or something like that, and they sort of actually pass the torch.
Right.
That makes you a little more comfortable, I guess, where it goes. Because now we're just sitting here in limbo thinking, well, who's going to do it? And it's just going to be one of those off-screen things where someone behind a computer decides.
They clearly tried to make Tony pass the torch to Peter.
Yeah, but he can't.
But he can't. Like the problems we mentioned before. I mean, the movie Spider-Man 3 has already gotten pushed back because of the Sony stuff and COVID stuff.
There's too much red tape.
We've had a lot of movies already get pushed back because of COVID multiple times already. Just this past week, Black Widow, Eternals, and Shang-Chi all got pushed back again. So now Black Widow is coming out in May. Shang-Chi is opening in July. It was supposed to open in May. And then Eternals was supposed to open, I believe, in February and has gotten pushed back to November of
those two movies have finished filming, right? They've finished filming principal photography of Shang-Chi and Eternals.
I don't know if
I hope Eternals is done.
Yeah, I believe Eternals and Black Widow. Obviously, Black Widow's done. I don't know if Shang-Chi's done yet, but they're able to film it in areas where you can film.
Right.
That shouldn't be an
issue. Are they doing it in China?
I think so. They are.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I didn't remember if Eternals finished principal photography or not.
Yeah. So, also, what the hell does this have to do with like? You thought those original movies were so like clearly defined by their like release dates and how you got information for the whole series as a whole. Now they're just sort of coming out whenever they can come out. So I don't know how that's going to
Yeah.
affect the overarching story and the way they give Easter eggs and things like that, or if this isn't really a phase that is going to have a huge overarching story. So maybe it doesn't matter. I would have thought with WandaVision and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness that those two would have needed to be like back to back, since they originally talked how they were supposed to be that way. But
Yeah.
now they're like a year and a half apart.
Yeah, I feel like Multiverse of Madness would be the only one that actually has some sort of unifying framework for how things would go, because you can introduce so many different things.
And now it's
like the crappy news article we saw with like Tom Cruise as Iron
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
which is probably bullshit. But if you did something like that, that could be really cool.
Mhm. And now it seems like that's going to be like the season finale for like Phase 4, based on
Yeah.
the fact that Black Panther 2 won't be coming out when it's supposed to.
I guess the fact that they're not going out of their way to rearrange them that way means that there really is no framework.
Yeah. But-
Which sucks because, you know, the after credits Easter eggs are really, that's a huge part of these movies to try and piece together. It's like when you get it's like a cereal box when you get a toy, but you got to get all 5 pieces of the toy to put them together to figure out what the fuck it is.
Mhm.
Trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the Marvel universe, you got to watch all the movies and piece it, you know, back to back after most of the post credit scenes, except for the one with Captain America when he tells you to like wash your butt cheeks or something like that.
Yep, that was the message.
I would imagine they're still going to do the after the credits, but it may just not matter on the order. They may be all like leading towards Phase 5, or they may all be not leading to the overall arching story. But I don't think they're going to do away with the after credits. It's too iconic.
It's like a staple.
I'm sure they'll do them. They'll just be slightly less meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe they just move them around between movies.
Yeah,
Like
I guess that's
like
that's
oh,
possible
you
too.
saw Doctor Strange, but you're not getting a Doctor Strange post credits. You're getting a Captain Marvel post credits, and in Captain Marvel you get Doctor Strange, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's cool
No,
seeing
that's
other
really
heroes.
smart. Now that you say it,
Yeah.
that's actually like a pretty clever idea.
It's true. I guess that doesn't really matter what movie they're.
Yeah, I mean,
with.
everyone. If you see an MCU movie, you're an MCU fan. You're probably seeing the other ones.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I just think it's going to be very much a stopgap, regardless if was planned or not. I think that Phase 4 is going to be very much like Phase 2.
yeah,
Just
and
like a dud.
similar to Phase 2, we're having creative problems behind the scenes.
Mhm.
We lost Scott Derrickson as the director of Doctor Strange 2, a
So
la
upset about
Edgar
that.
Wright leaving Ant-Man, and then Peyton Reed coming in and directing. Similar to Joss Whedon having problems with the Avengers sequel, not coming back. All those sorts. Thor had 3 different directors for their first 3 movies. Jon Favreau had problems with Iron Man 2 and didn't return for 3. So I don't know if they're getting more hands-on again, or if it's just it was a one-case scenario with Scott Derrickson. But hopefully this is a scenario similar to like Taika coming on for Thor Ragnarok and elevating Thor. Hopefully Sam Raimi coming on elevates Doctor Strange.
I think that's definitely a good possibility. I think he's the perfect fit for that film.
He seems like the guy that could take that movie and do some magic with it. Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel also has a different director than the first movies. The first one was like a pair of directors. They did Little Miss Sunshine, I believe. But this new one is from the director of the new Candyman movie.
Oh, okay.
So a huge sign of faith in the fact that movie is going to be good. Candyman. Because there's no way the person gets hired otherwise. But
One would hope.
I was surprised that they switched directors just because Captain Marvel was pretty big. Like it made over $1 billion worldwide, made over 400 million in America. So I was a little surprised that they decided to switch it up.
It was kind of a lackluster movie, though.
It really was.
Yeah, there was definitely nothing great.
Yeah.
It was very by the books.
So
They
maybe
didn't
they
do any-
just took.
yeah.
Maybe they just want to do something different. with
Yeah,
it.
something
They wanna give
more
Maybe it's
exciting.
a hard R horror movie now.
Maybe it'd be an interesting tonal shift, but guess anything's possible.
I think they just need to. They definitely need to go a new direction with the character because the way they've been going, she's just not an interesting character to follow. She wasn't. They didn't know what to do with her in Endgame. To the
Well,
point where
because
she
you
was like
introduce
barely in the movie.
a character who basically is built up as, you know, just completely immortal. Like she's like the end game, no pun intended, you know, of all the characters, and it was just so packed that they didn't really have anywhere to put her, so they just like brought her in last minute. She was cool. She did, you know, what she did with Thanos, but it wasn't that satisfying after they kind of introduced and built this character up over however long.
It's a tough
Yeah.
character to make interesting because invincible people.
Yeah, her and the Scarlet Witch are pretty much the same.
It's
They neutered Scarlet Witch. She had a lot of really cool powers, and then
I feel like
got rid of them.
Captain Marvel
In a lot of ways,
the whole Superman problem. Like
that's what I was
Yeah.
just going to mention.
when you can't fucking die, like because you're so powerful. Like who's your enemy
Boring.
supposed to be? Is there supposed to be a real threat? It's just too much.
And
well,
the-
she at least had people with superpowers. Superman's biggest villain was like some shitty real estate agent. So
Good
Yeah,
point.
but the
Good
thing,
point.
yeah, but the thing with Superman that was always his challenge is to fit in with, you know, the planet and the people that he was trying to protect, and that
I
was
feel
what
like
was-
that's Brie Larson's biggest issue too, is trying to fit in with
Exactly.
the planet and the people
Exactly.
that inhabit it.
exactly. But Christopher
Nothing
Reeve,
about Captain Marvel's though.
Christopher Reeves was able to like do it. He pulled it off, but not and you know, a knock against her. I just think that she was rushed. I think that she didn't have enough time to breathe. They had to introduce her into, you know,
Yeah,
The
I
team.
think they just need to make her interesting. I mean, because Thor's pretty powerful too.
Simple enough.
Need to
Just make her interesting.
Yeah, just like give her,
Problem
give
solved.
her something like
there you
give
go.
her a
Doug.
personality.
Write her a personality.
Problem
'Cause
solved.
She's very like one note. Whereas,
Yeah, I mean the
like-
movie. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Yeah, I think you were gonna say.
I just said the movie was going to suffer. It would have suffered so bad if Samuel L. Jackson wasn't there, like keeping up the personality thing. Because I mean,
That was my
he
favorite
pretty
part.
much, yeah. She was just very bland, and he was fucking Samuel L. Jackson from 1990.
I almost wonder if they continue. Well, I don't know if they continue that kind of team up, or if they team her up with someone else. Because I think you're right. Like the character that we have right now, she's very bland, and she needs someone else, another character, a more explosive character, to kind of like, you know, push her up.
Maybe that's her
So-
almond joy. She needs to have someone with a personality around her.
Or Captain Marvel with Samuel Jackson with Nick Fury, maybe Captain Marvel 2. I don't know.
Sidebar, since we are talking Superman and Captain Marvel, what phase are we before we eventually get a DC Marvel crossover in movies? Phase.
I think it's the next pandemic that'll
hoping-
trigger that.
I'm hoping for that at some point. It could happen. I mean, it's happened in the comic books.
exactly.
like, what,
It's happened in the
twice?
comic books.
3 times,
Um,
maybe.
I have to imagine that like phase 9 by then we are
Yeah.
getting a crossover with DC. We're gonna be like
When they've-
fucking old men by the time it happens. But
When they've killed all the Marvel characters and DC is on their 9th or 10th reboot of all their characters, then they'll come together.
when Disney buys fucking DC
Oh God, please
And-
no.
and Warner Brothers, that's when it'll happen. When,
The-
Oh, no.
when Disney owns the
one-
world.
The one thing that I'm very excited about, and I feel like they're going to finally nail whenever they do it, is I think Fantastic Four. I think we're finally going to get like a
Third
killer
time's a charm.
Fantastic Four.
Hey, they've already done it right. Disney's already done it right with The Incredibles. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad with the last version of it because that could have been good, but you know, I think they're gonna nail it whenever they do it. And X-Men, I don't even know. I don't know how they could do that any better with a lot of the characters, but we'll see.
I mean, Have you gone back and watched some of the old X-Men movies? They're
I
pretty
did-
fucking terrible.
I did watch X2 recently, and
Oh yeah, that's
It
on
was
Disney
fun.
Plus.
it was fun, but it's a little ridiculous. Not as ridiculous as the first, but
Yeah, outside of Wolverine, they didn't get a whole lot like to be that level of like Wolverine's up here, all the other characters are kind of down here.
Yeah.
In terms
Speaking of X-Men and their characters, when is Deadpool going to come in? Is
Never.
Deadpool going to come in?
well,
never.
it's I don't know if this is true, but I saw like a rumor the other day that apparently Disney is in talks with Ryan Reynolds, and like apparently he's gonna end up being the highest paid of the MCU.
Honestly, you can make him your big gun. Those two Deadpool movies were
You're
huge.
great.
You're not going to be able to put an R-rated Deadpool out in the MCU. It's just not going to happen. So what do? Do you go like an Arrested Development route and you just have beeps for his curses? I think that could be funny.
It would
Well,
work.
they did
would
it
work.
though, didn't they? Like because they released
Well, they did that.
Deadpool 2
I never
PG-13 cut.
I never saw
Yeah,
that.
Once Upon a Deadpool or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did any of
Here
us?
you go.
Did any of us see
No,
it?
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
We were going.
I saw
somewhere, but
parts
we
of
never
it.
did.
Well, how did they do it?
I think they cut out a lot
Did
of
they
the
have
parts. I think it
beeps?
was
Yeah,
a shorter movie.
I don't remember beeps, but I do
Or
remember like
bleeps?
The first time they do a bleep and he does one of these, like, what the
It'd be
fuck is
hilarious.
that? And then just keep doing it. It would be hilarious. Then it would get really, really annoying.
Well,
Or that, or like a censored bar and he'd like knock it off
Yeah.
or something like that.
back to
That
Captain
joke.
Marvel. Back to Captain Marvel. Link Deadpool up with Captain Marvel.
That would
There
be
you
pretty
go.
funny,
The
actually.
Adventures of Captain Marvel and Deadpool.
That would.
I would
elevate
see
her.
that film.
That would elevate her. That character
Yeah.
has like a stick up her butt in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
she would
she's
have
not
to become
really-
like kind of humorous by hanging out with
Yeah.
him.
That would be hilarious. I think that would be.
But they already did that with Josh Brolin.
That's true.
I
Or-
want to see Deadpool grab a censored bar and beat someone to death with it. I really want to see that now.
Or Deadpool, Thor, and then the Guardians. That would be amazing.
Oh God,
That's just too much.
that would be
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
little too
humor.
much. But no, that's not a bad idea. I think we may have solved the Disney problem. The Disney Marvel
Yeah,
problem.
give us a call. Those are exclusively our ideas.
But from what I read, like they're prepared to give him like all the money. They're just trying to figure out how he's going to fit into everything.
I mean, it'd be dumb to
So-
let that movie rot because of
That would
how
be
much
very,
money
very,
they made.
very dumb.
I would be shocked if they do that. I think they're just trying to figure out where he's gonna, what they're gonna do, because he loves that character, so he protects it in a lot of ways. So I feel like if they're gonna make it work, they're gonna have to go through him.
They don't need to go through anyone. They're fucking Marvel.
I
They,
know,
they
but
have a grip on it.
I know, but who are they?
Ryan Reynolds
they
doesn't
need-
own it.
They need Ryan Reynolds. No one else is gonna play Deadpool.
Deadpool needs
No, and-
the MCU more than the MCU needs Deadpool.
I feel like he would be.
Yeah.
He would rather the character die than go into a situation where it's not fitting for the character. Maybe.
Although Deadpool with 2 cut rate X-Men was pretty fucking funny on its own.
Yeah.
I mean, he only really needs the bottom of the barrel of the MCU.
This is true.
You can hang out with anyone and he'll make it interesting.
I mean, they used They used a scene from one of the old X-Men movies, the jet
Yeah.
taking off, right?
Yep. And then
You can do shit like that.
Colossus
Miss-
shows up.
That's so good.
Deadpool and Howard the Duck. There you go.
I would legitimately watch that.
All right, but then the MCU Phase 4 isn't just movies. They're also having their foray into television shows for the first time, like official MCU television shows on Disney Plus. Obviously, we were supposed to have a few this year. We have yet to get any, as we talked about, I think, on our last episode. But movement is regularly happening. Over the past couple of weeks, they cast the lead in Ms. Marvel. It's an unknown actress. And then they announced that Nick Fury is getting his own show as well. So correct me if I'm
Which is
wrong,
awesome.
but that's like 7 or 8 shows that we've already gotten announced over the past year. WandaVision's supposed to come out this year. I don't see why it won't at this point, just because it's in the can. So we will finally see how this experiment works on television. But yeah, we were supposed to have already gotten Falcon the Winter Soldier. I think Loki would have come out this year. Now both of those are going to be 2021s. We're still waiting on Hawkeye, She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel. What other ones are we looking at? Nick Fury, and then Moon Knight. That's one of them, right?
Yeah.
I think that is all of the ones that have been announced so far. But at this rate, we're not getting a bunch of them until probably 2022, 2023. So it'll be interesting to see how they tie into the movies and how many of them actually become like movie stars and get their own like trilogies and things like that after the shows.
Well, I think it's smart. I think it's smart, because like you said, if the show is successful, they can, weave them into the films. I mean, it's clearly like it's going to cost Disney, Marvel a lot less money to put out like a 10 episode or 6 episode Disney Plus show to see like if people are interested in it. And if they are, then they'll weave them into the films, and then they just make bank, and they just, new character, new Avenger. So
it's a cool idea. They got to talk to Jon Favreau and get that Mandalorian setup going, so they could just churn these out with having to go outside and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to me how like we were supposed to have. You go a few years back, we were supposed to have like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as our kickoff to Phase 4. Now our kickoff to Phase 4 is WandaVision, starring 2 of the background players of Phase 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It does seem interesting, though.
It looks awesome.
Doesn't seem bland.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It looks ambitious, something different than what the MCU usually does. So I am excited about that. But it's like, again, it's a dead character. Another dead character from Infinity War, and then a side character since Age of Ultron.
I mean, at least with Vision had, at least in the comics, he has come back, without the stone. So they could, potentially go that route and bring him back in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if they will, but they could.
Will he have a different personality? Does he still put paprika on stuff?
I think
put paprika on it.
I think he has like a different personality, but he's still, or he doesn't have the same memories. He doesn't have the same memories as he had previously. So, but
no Men in Black 2.
We've seen that enough.
I'm not doing it.
But
I want to have to relearn Vision.
They could bring him back. They could definitely bring the character back. So,
well, we shall see, and how all these things come together.
Bring him back though isn't like he's not going to fill the void Vision. That we were talking about. I mean, he's fine.
Not at all.
For Vision.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I love Vision. I was like so giddy when they brought him into the fold, but he's not a character that is going to be at the forefront of the team. Like, he's always been, a secondary character, always.
Yeah.
That's the best role that he has. And the most interesting is his relationship with Scarlet Witch. So, which we're going to be getting, it seems.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we shall see how this whole thing comes together over the next few years. God knows when Phase 4 will actually start and end in regards to the movies. But hopefully the TV shows chug along regularly at this point, just based on the sheer amount of them and how far along each one is so far. Yeah, any last words in regards to Marvel, or shall we move on to our yearly film series?
Fast Track Blade, let's go.
Yeah.
I think you're missing a topic off our outline, which is America's penis.
You are right. How could I forget?
The most important topic.
The last part of the curse of Marvel over this Phase 4 period is Chris Evans' dong.
Penises.
Chris Evans is hanging Chad on the internet, and hey, the dude played it off well.
He did. I have one
I
question.
haven't heard anything about it.
I have one question regarding this. So, if this happened while he was deep in Captain America, like before Endgame came out or Infinity War, and this dropped, do you think it would have been a different story?
No, I don't think anyone would have cared.
I think if it was in the time of firing James Gunn, maybe, but post like rehiring James Gunn, probably not.
I mean, he definitely played it off incredibly, but I wonder now.
He played it off like a fucking star.
Yeah,
Yep.
like it happens.
But thank you, Doug. Thank you for bringing up America's.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we didn't skip over that topic.
America's penis.
Yeah.
Good old live, breathe film after dark.
All right. So, as we talked about on our last episode, we are heading into the 1990s for our yearly film series. Today, we will go over 1990 itself. Just a reminder that during our yearly film series, each of us are picking one film. Occasionally, there will be a combination just because of the way the year worked out, where maybe two films will go along together naturally. That's how mine worked today. But we pick movies that we love for whatever reason. We have a fun memory about it. We just love the film for it being a great film, or anything like that. So today we will start with Corey's pick, Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, so this is like one of my favorite horror movies. I watch this movie at least once a year. It has a lot of just a lot of influences from Silent Hill. Silent Hill's influenced by this film. So Tim Robbins is in it. It follows a Vietnam vet that he has PTSD, and he gets lost in his mind and his his thoughts, and he starts seeing visions of things that are going on. He doesn't know if they're real or if they're their dreams, and it's just like a visually awesome film. It's got a great cast, and it's definitely one of those films that you have to watch multiple times to really kind of get a grasp on what's going on. And it has a very open-ended type of platform, because you wonder if this this veteran is is he actually experiencing these things in in real life, in reality, or are they just a part of his PTSD? And it questions a lot of that, and just a lot of things that could happen to people that go through traumatic situations. It's very, very good. It's not really a graphic film, but it's definitely unsettling, spoopy or creepy type of film. But it's not one that has jump scares or anything. It's more of a cerebral type of horror film. So I don't know. Have you guys ever seen it, Doug?
I haven't. I've heard of it, but haven't seen it.
No. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a film. I mean, I recommend if you guys like that type of horror. But I originally recognized it from Silent Hill. I mean, I played Silent Hill, and it was one of the video game, and it was one of the main sources of influence for the game. So I watched it, and like it's very obvious that it's there, but it's definitely a very deep and disturbing type of film, but it's really, really good. Still holds up to today. I mean, you got Tim Robbins, Danny Aiello, I think, was from Moonstruck. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but he was in that. But it's a really fantastic spoopy horror film, I guess, cerebral horror. So that is that. And I think, Doug, you had another like kind of like scary horror movie type of thing, right? That you watched more of a on the spoopy side.
So I didn't feel like I could make my pick this week without at least addressing the fact that the Witches and the Witches of Eastwick are I learned last week are not the same movie. They're two separate and very different movies.
Yes, they are.
So I it's not my pick for 1990, but I just felt like I had to at least give a shout out to the Witches because this is their year in 1990. And we do have a new The Witches trailer from Robert Zemeckis that just came out, which didn't look as scary to me as the original.
Divisive within the group.
Yeah,
I think it looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah, it didn't look. Me. Anne Hathaway looked fun, but as the main witch, but yeah, they just didn't look spooky enough. It didn't make me look like it would like scar a young child like it scarred me when I was a kid. So
yeah, I legit remember crying from Witches back in the day when I was
that's unacceptable if you're not going to make a small child cry. So
yeah. You know what I used to cry about when I watched The Witches? The fact that he got to live in the Ghostbusters firehouse at the end of the movie, and I didn't, and that pissed me off. He had the sweetest setup at the end of the movie when he was a mouse. Then he grows up to a boy and destroys the firehouse. Breaks my heart.
I don't remember that, but
no, you got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and revisit The Witches. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about The Witches, real quick. My movie for 1990 was mainly because it was the movie I watched the most recently out of the 1990 movies was Gremlins 2. By far, like, way more ridiculous than regular Gremlins.
That's in the office, right? Or like the office building or the mall?
Yeah,
right?
it's a big office building. So what the office building is owned by Daniel Clamp, who's basically like a Donald Trump ripoff. Like he's very Donald Trump, and it's like Clamp Building, and he's got all these products that are like the Clamp products. It's like a very clear spoof on Donald Trump, which I don't think I realized at the time, but going back and seeing it, I was like, and this is Trump. I guess one of the things that caught me the most, or that I didn't remember the most when I watched it this time around, was just like how many different Gremlins there are. Like that seemed to be the big thing about this one is like, we're gonna like make 1 million different models of these like puppets, and we're just gonna go like batshit crazy. So what I did is I made a list of all the Gremlins that I saw, just because I found it humorous it kept me entertained. So there's a spider gremlin. There's a smart gremlin that wears a turtleneck and smokes a cigar. He can talk. Which is ridiculous. There's a dumb gremlin. There's a bat gremlin that they apply sunblock to, so he can get around. Which is ridiculous. There's a flasher gremlin, so he's like literally wears a trench coat and like opens up the trench coat and flashes people. There's a Go for it.
Is this the one where there's a gremlin with lipstick on and like?
Oh yeah, yep. I was just gonna get to her. There's the girl gremlin. All she wants to do, she's like a Miss Piggy type thing, and like all she wants to do is like have sex with like one of the main guys.
Yes, I remember that for whatever reason.
Doesn't she get him at the end? Doesn't he show up with like a bunch of kiss like marks on his face or something like that?
Yeah. So apparently there's gonna be some human gremlin hybrid if they ever make a third.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's crazy, and she's like a complete nympho. Like all she wants to do is have sex with this guy, and apparently does. There's a vegetable gremlin There's the evil Mohawk Gremlin. There's the there's a gremlin made completely out of electricity, and then there's one that's like a Phantom of the Opera gremlin, which I found weird too.
I remember that.
And so these gremlins all come about because Christopher Lee is a scientist in this movie. And
Christopher Lee's in that movie?
Yeah, he's the main scientist.
Holy shit, I forgot about that.
Which I didn't realize until I went back and watched it. I was like, oh shit, that's Christopher Lee. But yeah, he's got a main lab, and he's the one that's like experimenting on genes, and it's super 90s and over the top, and he makes all these variations on the gremlins. That's why we get all these fun gremlins where they just decide to go crazy. So that was probably the most notable part of the movie. But just another cameo you get is like Hulk Hogan is in the movie.
I forgot about that.
I love probably my favorite part of the movie is the meta part where you're watching the movie and the movie just kind of like burns up or gets taken off the reel, and they're at a movie theater and they're watching Gremlins, and the Gremlins are like messing around behind the screen. It's super meta and it's super fun, and I really like that they do that. And I believe that's Hulk Hogan's cameo. Hulk Hogan like yells at the Gremlins to turn the movie back on, and they turn the movie back on, which is kind of fun.
So strange.
It's super strange, but I kind of like the fact that they went for that. And then it just kind of like gets towards the end, Gizmo like goes Rambo and like starts watching Rambo and puts the bandana around his head, and it's just like they went completely crazy with this script, and they were just like, let's make fun of everything, and that's clearly what they do in this movie. But it's fun. It's a fun movie. I think I enjoyed it less as an adult, just because the variations on the Gremlins weren't as entertaining, except for the fact of me laughing at it as I wrote them down. I think the first one's by far the better movie, but I do appreciate that 2 just completely goes for it. But that's
it's a weird movie. Google's saying that Sylvester Stallone was in it. I don't remember that being a thing.
Yeah, I don't remember even seeing that. I mean, Rambo is definitely in the movie. Like Gizmo watches the Rambo movie.
Oh, okay. Probably makes sense. It also is saying that their featured song is "Angel of Death" by Slayer.
Oh, of course it is.
I don't remember that.
I don't either. It's definitely an interesting movie. You get a kick out of the puppets, and Christopher Lee probably got paid pretty well to be in that movie.
Oh, I'll bet.
So, Gremlins 2.
Yeah, Gremlins 2.
I interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcasting to bring you breaking news. All right, gentlemen. The Batman new release date is out, and it is fucking shitty.
Stupid.
It has been pushed back to March 4th, 2022.
6 goddamn months.
Yeah, that's...
So we got a very early trailer.
At least Matrix got moved up.
Yes.
Great.
The Matrix.
Oh, boy.
The Matrix 4 is now opening on December 22nd, 2021. The Flash has also been pushed back from June 3rd, 2022 to November 4th, 2022. Black Adam has been pushed back from December 2021 to an undated 2022 release date. Or it might be a different time in 2021, but I doubt it. And Shazam 2 will now open June 2nd, 2023.
Wow.
Instead of November 4th, 2022.
That is
I don't like this.
Crazy.
This puts a lot more pressure on me to stay alive. I feel like I don't have a whole lot of say sometimes, like when I'm walking down the street or something. So
6 months is
it's not cool.
For Batman. That's substantial. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting 6 months.
There's
March
just
is kind of a stupid.
There's
time
just
to put it
so
out,
much
too.
opening in 2021 that
Yeah. because everything is getting pushed.
Yeah, I
pushed
mean,
out,
we're getting
so-
everything from 2020 and a lot of
Yeah.
shit that was supposed to open in 2021 as well.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you think, you know, in that respect. But man, that is disappointing.
Yeah, man,
Very
fuck
disappointing.
COVID and its stupid
Yeah.
fucking bum, because this shit sucks.
I don't know if it has a bum.
We don't know what it has, but fuck it anyway. That is the end
man.
of our emergency message.
Back to our regular scheduled program.
Back to the yearly film series. 1990.
1990.
JP, fucking go. Let's hear what you got.
All right. Well, I had one that we probably wouldn't be able to talk about, so I switched it up and I went with Kindergarten Cop, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, which has the absolute most violent start to a kids movie I've ever seen in my life. It looks like a Terminator movie for the first 5 minutes when he's murdering a bunch of crackheads in a crack house, but and it tames down real quick, and he goes and he teaches kindergarten in place of his friend Phoebe O'Hara. It's a really weird 90s movie.
It followed that
it feels
80s
like
trend of comedy with a very intense action scene to end it.
Oh yeah, no, it's just such a strange movie. But a lot of like the most memorable Arnold Schwarzenegger lines of all time. I mean, you got "It's not a tumor." He says ferrets. It's a good time. I absolutely love this movie. I think I've watched it fairly recently, maybe within the last 3 or 4 years, and it still holds up as just being a really fun movie to watch. Seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger interact with children is strange because he's so much larger than them, and I don't know what I could really say about this movie if you haven't seen it. It's totally worth a watch. It's one of probably his best movies, I feel like, of all time. Probably up there in like top 5 or 7 for me at least.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like it's a normal number, but yeah, it's fantastic. It's vintage Schwarzenegger. He's funny. It's just an all around good time.
He also had Total Recall in 1990, so big year for him.
Yeah, 2 completely different ends of the spectrum there.
And
if I could have done a third movie, it would have been Total Recall.
It's a good movie.
There you go.
It's another good Schwarzenegger movie.
Well,
Yeah.
Speaking of actors that had 2 incredibly different films in their year, I went with Joe Pesci's huge 1990, where he had Tommy DeVito in Goodfellas and Harry in Home Alone. Couldn't be any different in tone and everything else. Goodfellas and Home Alone. But goddamn, what a year. He had Home Alone as the number 1 movie of the year, and then he had Goodfellas where he wins Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars, and gives a 2-word acceptance speech. If you've never seen that before,
was it fuck you?
Just thank you. It might even just be thanks, actually. Man of few words, that Joe Pesci. Yeah. Unless they're filmed, and then his words usually involve the F word a lot. But
I'd go so far as to say he's equally violent in both movies, because he really wants to murder a child.
He does. He wants to bite off Macaulay Culkin's fingers, and absolutely destroy him. And he kills quite a few in Goodfellas.
Yeah,
he's stabbing people in trunks and fucking shooting them for giving him lip in the bar. Yeah, just scaring the hell out of people when they laugh at his jokes. And goddamn, just menacing performance from Pesci, but one of our great actors. And then Home Alone just being one of our great Christmas films.
New Jersey guy too, right?
New Jersey guy, yep. So, we don't have to talk much more about Home Alone. We will have our Christmas episode later this year, and that will definitely be a highlight of it. But yeah, shout out to Marty for Goodfellas. Should have fucking won Best Director for that. And shout out to Chris Columbus for fucking Home Alone and John Hughes.
Shout out to Ray Liotta's horrifying laugh.
That too. Can't ever forget it. All right. But that's all we got for today. So thanks as always for listening. Please like, follow, subscribe to all our various pages. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. Also, just so you guys know, we're now on Amazon Music since they've finally moved into the podcast world. They have a really nice layout. So shout out Jeff Bezos for his hard work. I'm sure that he did on getting that podcast right. But yeah, as always, this has been Corey, Doug, JP, and Murph at Live Breathe Film. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too.